right. So, good morning, welcome. Just a couple of announcements, I guess. Number one, we've been having issues with streaming. Facebook crashes, Zoom crashes, obviously because everybody's streaming everything at this point. So if we get disconnected, I will try to restream it. This is all brand new to me. Number two, if at any point you hear a bunch of dogs barking, I'm sorry, they're upstairs. There's nothing you can do about it. They can be kind of loud. And then number three, I will demo everything. I'll walk you through everything. If ever you can't hear me or if my instructions are confusing, just follow me. I'll be over here on my mat trying to do everything with you. So, to get started this morning, our class is gonna be sort of just like an all-around, gentle, slow flow. If there's anything that you don't wanna do, you don't like doing, it doesn't feel good, you don't have to do it. Just remember that it's always always an option to just skip it. I can't see what you're doing, and so I'm not gonna be offended no matter what. So yeah, let's do this. To get started, we're just gonna find a comfortable seat. This keeps tilting. Okay. Find a comfortable seat. You can sit on a cushion, you can sit on the floor, whatever feels good, and you can cross your legs. Your legs can be extended long, whatever feels good. Once you find your comfortable seat, just go ahead and find some length in your spine and close your eyes. And begin to find and follow your breath. Following your inhale through the nostrils, down the back of the throat, to the chest, and to the belly. Just simply observing the breath as it moves in and out of your body. Being curious about the breath, maybe noticing the temperature as it enters your nostrils and the temperature as it leaves your body. We're just going to take a couple of moments here to really settle into this space. Trying to calm the mind, calm the breath, calm the heart. And if your mind becomes busy or noisy, just gently try to bring it back to those observations, the inhale and the exhale. Now draw your attention to your shoulders and just notice if there's any tension there. Is there anything that's tucked away in your shoulders that you can let go of? Maybe relaxing them down the back, letting them be heavy, letting the chest open. And then shift your awareness to your hands. Is there anything tucked away in your fingers and your palms and your wrists? Anything that you can let go of? Bring your right hand to your heart, and then stack your left hand on top. Just taking a moment to stay connected to the breath, but finding the expansion in your chest and maybe even finding your heartbeat. Letting your heartbeat, the gentle rise and fall of your chest, let them ground you here in the present. Couple more breaths here. Bring your hands back down to your thighs or your knees, and we're going to drop the chin towards the chest. Stretching the back of the neck, letting the shoulders stay heavy. And then roll your right ear towards your right shoulder, opening and stretching through the left side of the neck. Slowly rotate the back of your head towards the back of your spine, opening through the throat. And then left ear to left shoulder. Opening through the right side of your neck. Inhale, sweep arms up. Exhale, hands come back down to the ground. Inhale, sweep arms up. Exhale, hands come back down to the ground. We're going to bring the left hand to the outside of the right thigh or knee. We're going to bring the right hand behind. Take a deep inhale as you're in a tiny bit of a twist here. Inhale to lengthen your spine and exhale to twist. Maybe gazing beyond your right shoulder. Do that 2 more times. Inhale, lengthen your spine. Exhale, twist. Inhale, lengthen spine. Exhale, twist. Inhale, come back through center. Exhale, let it go. And then we're going to bring the right hand to the outside of the left leg, the left thigh or the knee. Left hand comes behind. Inhale to find some length. Exhale, twist. 2 more times. Inhale, finding length. Exhale, twist. Inhale, length. Exhale, twist. Inhaling, come back through center. Okay. And we're going to plant the right hand on the ground. We're going to lift the left arm above head, sweeping the bicep towards the ear. Finding that stretch in the left side body. Take a deep inhale, filling the ribs with air. Inhale. Exhale, bend 1 more time. Inhale. Exhale, bend. Come back through center. Planting the left hand on the ground, right arm sweeps up, bicep towards ear. Inhale, filling the ribs with air. Exhale, finding a bend. 2 more breaths here. Inhale. Exhale, bend. Inhale. Exhale, bend. Come back through center. And we're going to make our way to a tabletop. So, sorry, I'm kind of looking at the comments just to make sure nothing's going wrong. Okay, so we're going to make our way to a tabletop. Coming onto all fours. Wrists are going to be stacked underneath your shoulders and knees are going to be stacked under your hips. Here in the tabletop, we're going to find a nice, long, neutral spine. Tops of the feet are flat on the floor, and you can take a look back at your toes just to make sure that they're not sort of pigeon-toeing in towards each other. We want the toes to be in line with the knees. Now, finding your neutral spine, we're going to pull the crown of the head away from the tailbone, slightly bringing the belly button in towards the lower back, or towards the spine, sorry. Pushing the floor away with your palms. We're just going to hold here for 2 more deep breaths. One more breath. On your next inhale, we're going to begin to drop the belly, lift the gaze, pull the chest forward. This is cow. Exhale, rounding the spine, kind of like an angry cat pushing the floor away from you. Gaze comes down to the ground. Cat pose. Move through cat and cow a couple of times here at your own pace, finding that connection of your breath with movement. So inhale on the cow, pulling chest forward, lift up. Exhale, rounding spine. Couple more breaths here. All right, so we're going to finish on a cat as you're pressing the ground away and then coming back through tabletop. We're going to do a little bit of some wrist exercises here. So first, in your tabletop, let's go ahead and, so we're finding that long neutral spine again. We're just going to begin to make circles with our body, shifting the weight forward, then back, basically making these circles around our wrists and shifting the weight to the different parts of the hand. And then we're going to switch directions. Come back through center. If you've taken real life classes with me before, you've probably done this with me. This is like my favorite wrist stretch ever. Sorry, hold on. Okay. My favorite wrist stretch ever. So we're staying in our tabletop and we're gonna walk our hands back a couple of inches. Flip the right palm to be on the mat or on the ground. And we're gonna sort of shimmy the right hand towards the left knee. Lift the left knee and bring the left knee on top of the right palm. You can start massaging your palm with your knee. You can really get in there, sort of digging into it. It may be crinkly and crackly. I know mine are, and that's totally okay. If you're making circles, go ahead and switch directions with your circles. All right, we're gonna release, bringing the knee back down to the ground. Right hand comes back down to the ground. Just take a moment to see if you can feel any differences between the two. And then whenever you're ready, you can flip the left palm, shimmy it towards the right knee, bring the right knee on top of the left palm, and just give your hand and palm a nice massage. The knobbiness of the knee really helps dig into the muscles in the hand. And you can even work your way up to sort of like the wrist area. All right, release your left knee back down to the ground. Opposite. Right knee comes down to the ground, left hand comes down to the ground. And we are going to walk your hands back out to your tabletop. Move your big toes to touch. We're gonna move the knees so that they're mat width distance apart and push back to a child's pose. So child's pose is basically pressing your hips back towards your calves and your heels, and then letting your chest be heavy towards the ground. Arms can walk out, and then forehead can be nice and heavy towards the ground or on the ground. Taking a couple moments here in child's pose. Taking really deep breaths, deep nourishing breaths. Letting the back of the ribs expand. Letting the chest be heavy. Couple more breaths. Whenever you are ready, very slowly slither back up to your tabletop. And we are going to lower all the way down to the belly. So you can walk your knees back if you need to help sort of redistribute the weight. We're eventually all coming down to our bellies, untucking the toes so that the tops of the feet are on the mat. And we're going to bring the hands underneath the shoulders if they're not already there. We're going to try to tuck the elbows in towards the ribs. Pressing the tops of your feet on the mat. Press through your pelvis and your lower belly. Lift your chest on the inhale. Press into the mat with your hands. And we're just going to hold here for 3 breaths. This is baby cobra. 2 more breaths. 1 more breath. On your exhale, you can bring your chest down to the ground. Your hands can move in front of you, making a pillow. You can bring your forehead to your hands and sort of move your head from side to side. You can shake your hips from side to side. Giving your belly a nice massage here. All right, we are going to lift the chest again, bringing the elbows underneath the shoulders this time. Palms come to the ground and sort of try to suction cup the ground. We're moving into Sphinx here. So we're pressing the tops of the feet onto the mat still, activating through the glutes, squeezing the thighs together. Elbows are nice and firm on the ground, and as you inhale, pull your chest forward, pressing the pelvis into the ground, gaze in front of you. We're going to hold here for 3 breaths. 2 more breaths. 1 more breath. All right, begin to walk your elbows out. Hands can come in front of you again, making a pillow with your hands. Shake your hips from side to side. You can bend your knees and sort of windshield wiper your legs. And then whenever you are ready, we are going to move back into a child's pose. So you can bring your hands underneath your shoulders. Press first into your tabletop or modified plank, and then push back to a child's pose. Okay. Couple more breaths here in child's pose. All right, we're going to slither forward again to our tabletops. Tuck the toes, lift the knees, send the hips up and back. We're coming into our first downward facing dog. In the first downward facing dog, you can pedal out your feet, opening up the back of the legs. You can wag your tail, moving your hips from side to side. We're finding length in the back of the spine, so if you need to bend your knees because your hamstrings are tight, that is perfectly fine. Two more breaths here in down dog. Relax your head, shake it yes and no. All right, we're going to slowly walk towards the top of the mat or whatever you are on, a blanket, a towel. Walk towards your hands and we're going to find the forward fold. So you can have a bend in your knees here. Bring your hands to your shins. Push your shins away as you pull the crown of your head forward. Gaze is up a couple of feet in front of you. This is flat back. And then as you exhale, fold forward, keeping that gentle bend in your knees. You can grab opposite elbows here, coming into ragdoll. So you can sway from side to side. Maybe finding a little bit more length and space in the ribs. Couple more breaths here. Keeping that same connection to your breath that we found at the beginning of class. All right, release your elbows, and as you inhale, keep that gentle bend in your knees, but we're going to sweep arms up, coming to stand tall, and exhale, hands come down through heart center and then down to the ground. So you notice my ceiling is like really short, and so I can't really like fully sweep up, but hopefully you can. So we're going to run through one sun salutation A. Feet are hip distance apart. Inhale, sweep arms up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, coming to your flat back again, hands to shins, pushing away. And then exhale, fold forward, plant the hands, step back to a high plank. We're going to drop to the knees and then come all the way down to the belly, untucking the toes, tops of the feet are on the mat. Squeezing the thighs together as you inhale, baby cobra. Exhale, push back to a tabletop. Tuck the toes, push back to a downward facing dog. Things to focus on in this down dog. Making sure that your palms are sort of like really suction cupping on the ground. You can lift your fingers off the ground, web them, spread them wide, and then gently place them back down on the ground. Again, shake your head yes or no. Make sure that neck is nice and relaxed. And then rotate your inner elbows, your biceps in towards each other. One more breath here. We're going to slowly start to walk the hands back towards the feet. So we're doing the opposite. We're going to one hand at a time, as slow as you'd like to go. Walk the hands back towards the feet. Eventually coming again to a forward fold. Inhale, hands come to shins, pushing away, flat back. Exhale, folding forward. So in our forward fold this time, have as deep a bend in your knees. Oh, I'm kind of out of the picture. Okay. As deep a bend in your knees as you need to grab a hold of your big toes with your peace fingers. If you need to have a really deep bend, that's okay. With each inhale, we're going to try to find a little bit more length in the spine. And with each exhale, pulling the crown of the head a little bit closer to the ground. So you can press your big toes into your peace fingers as your peace fingers pull into your big toes to find a little bit of dynamic tension here. Holding for 3 more breaths. One more breath here. Release the toes, and as you inhale, sweep arms up, coming to stretch tall fingertips towards the ceiling. And then exhale, hands meet, moving through heart center, and then down to your sides. All right, we're gonna run through a modified sun salutation B. So walk to the top of your mat or whatever it is that you're practicing on. Feet are hip distance apart. And we're going to begin to bend the knees, sinking the seat back, coming into a chair pose. So we want to imagine that we're sort of sitting on a chair behind us. And we're squeezing like a block or a book, imaginary block or book between the legs. Finding some length in the spine here, belly button towards spine. And then the weight can sort of shift towards the heels. Holding here for 1 more breath. Take a deep inhale. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale to your flat back, hands to shins. Exhale, planting the hands, step back to your high plank again. If you want to run through a chaturanga, if you know it, feel free. Otherwise, we're dropping to the knees, coming all the way down to the belly again. And as you inhale, pushing into the mat, baby cobra. Exhale, pushing back to a tabletop. Tuck the toes, lift the knees, downward facing dog. And then we're going to lift the right leg high to the sky. Go ahead and bend your knee, bring your heel towards your left hip, so we're opening in the right hip. You can make circles here with your knee, just sort of opening it up. My feet are dirty, I'm sorry. All right. Straighten your leg, square your hips to the ground, and we're gonna step the right foot through towards in between the hands. And if you need to wiggle your foot forward, that's totally fine. We're trying to find the knee over the ankle. Firing up the energy in the left leg, shooting the energy sort of out through that heel. Find your stability here in your lunge. And then whenever you feel ready, you can sweep arms up towards the ceiling to find your high lunge. Holding here for 3 breaths. Squeezing the thighs sort of together may help stabilize. 1 more breath. Take a deep inhale. Exhale, fold forward, planting the hands. Step back to your high plank. Option for your vinyasa flow or drop to the knees all the way down to the belly. Untucking the toes. Pressing the tops of the feet into the mat, baby cobra. And then exhale, tabletop, down dog. Take a moment here, noticing your breath. And then when you're ready, we're gonna lift the left leg high to the sky. Bending that left knee, bringing the left heel towards the right hip to open up the left hip. And again, you can make circles here. Switch directions with your circles. Come back through center, squaring the hips towards the mat, straightening that leg. And when you're ready, bend your knee, step your foot through your hands. Wiggling your foot forward if you need, left knee over ankle. Finding your stability, firing up the muscles in the back leg. Whenever you're ready, sweep arms up, high lunge. Gaze can be in front of you, or gaze can even be towards the ceiling for a tiny bit of a back bend. Woo. 2 more breaths. Take a deep inhale. Exhale, fold, planting the hands, framing the foot, step back to your high plank. Option for your flow, or drop to knees all the way down to your belly. Baby cobra. Tabletop, downward facing dog. We're going to drop to the knees again. Knees are going to be mat width distance apart. Untuck the toes. Big toes can touch. Press your hips back. Child's pose. We're going to hold here for 1 breath in child's pose. We're going to walk. Okay, let's walk both hands to the right side of your mat. Your left hand can stack on top of your right. Head is still going to be heavy towards the ground, and we're just going to find that expansion and the stretch to the left side body. Maybe even sending your breath to the left side body, to the left ribs. Two more breaths here. Slowly walk your hands back to center, letting the spine reset. And then we're going to walk both hands to the left side of the mat. This time, your right hand can stack on top of your left. Sending the breath to the right ribs, the right side body. Coming back through center. Unstack your hands, walk your hands back through center. We're going to slither forward to the tabletop. We're going to bring the knees back underneath the hips, and the toes now are going to be back to parallel, or not parallel, well, feet are parallel to each other, and then toes are in line with the knees. We're going to do thread the needle. So plant your left hand on the ground, left wrist underneath your left shoulder. Inhale as you lift your right arm towards the ceiling. And then as you exhale, we're going to thread the right arm underneath the left. So palm up, right palm up. Bringing the right tricep towards the ground. And maybe your head comes down to the ground. And then maybe the left hand walks out. Finding that twist through the upper spine. And just noticing where the breath goes when you're in a twisted shape. Slowly start to unwind yourself. Planting the left hand, bringing the right hand back to your tabletop. Taking a moment just to take a deep breath here, letting the spine reset. And then when you're ready, left hand reaches high towards the sky. And then as you exhale, threading the left arm underneath the right armpit. Top of the hand is on the ground. Shoulder comes towards the ground. And then maybe your right arm walks out. Again, notice your breath. Notice where it's going. All right, we're gonna unwind again, coming back through a tabletop. Tuck the toes. Lift the knees, send the hips up and back, downward facing dog. So in the downward facing dog, our feet right now should be about hip distance apart. But let's play with what it feels like to go mat width distance apart. So just walk your feet out to be about mat width distance apart, keeping them where they were in terms of length away from your hands. And then press into your palms, pressing the floor away from you, finding a sort of modified down dog. Couple of breaths. One more breath. Deep inhale. Exhale, let it go. Walk your feet back to be hip distance apart in your down dog. And we're gonna walk slowly to the top of the mat. Finding your forward fold again. Crown of the head is heavy towards the ground. Inhale, hands come to shins, flat back. Exhale, fold forward. This time we're going to do something funky, so we're going to try to stand on our palms. We're going to bring the tops of the hands to the mat and walk our hands underneath the soles of our feet. Your toes may move up towards your wrists. You may even try to massage your wrists with your toes if it's not too weird for you. But again, you can have a deep bend in your knees here if you need. And then once you get settled, let your head be heavy towards the ground and find that connection with the breath. Maybe finding a little bit of a deeper fold with each exhale. Maybe straightening the knees a tiny bit with each breath. One more deep inhale. Exhale. Release your hands from underneath the soles of your feet. And on your next inhale, sweep arms up, coming to stand tall. Bend your knees, coming through chair pose. Arms reach out in front of you, kind of like goalposts. Belly button towards spine to protect the lower back. Weight towards your heels. See if you can bend down a little bit further. One more breath. Exhale. Inhale, arms sweep up, and exhale, hands come down to your sides. So, we're now going to move into a straddle. So, whichever foot feels better to step back for you. I'm stepping my left foot back, but if you're facing me a different way, it may be weird. So we want to come into a straddle. Feet are going to be parallel to each other, a couple of feet away from each other. And we really want to press evenly into all points of the feet. So there's a tendency to sort of spill out to the knife edge of your feet, which is then a little bit of extra stress on the outer knee. So press firmly into all points of the sole of the foot. Bring your hands to your hips. Take a deep inhale, find your length in your spine, your neutral, strong, neutral spine. And as you exhale, fold forward, hinging at your hips, finding your fold over your straddle. Hands can release from your hips down to the ground. We're going to hold here for a couple of breaths. I'm I'm still here. I'm just checking to make sure that the strain is still working. Holding here in your straddle for a couple more breaths. Deep inhales. Deep exhales. Bring your hands to your shins. On your inhale, press your shins away, flat back. Exhale, fold forward again. This time we're doing that same big toe hold with our peace fingers. So grab a hold of your big toes with your peace fingers. Press your toes into your fingers pull into your toes. Take a deep inhale, and then exhale, fold forward, pulling the crown of your head closer to the ground. We're going to hold here for 2 more breaths. One more breath. Release your toes, and on your inhale, bring your hands to your shins. Hold it half back for the exhale. And then inhale, come all the way up to stand. We're going to bring the hands behind, clasping the hands, trying to bring maybe the palms to touch or not, whatever your body's saying to you this morning. Staying in your straddle. Inhale as you open your chest, and then exhale, fold forward. You may be able to press your hands away from your lower back, or they may just rest on your lower back. Listen to your body, listen to what it's saying. And as you breathe, just try to create some space in your chest, letting those shoulders open. 2 more breaths. Release your hands. Bring your hands again to your shins. Inhale to your flat back. Crown of the head pulls away from the tailbone. Hold for the exhale. Inhale, come all the way up to a standing position. All right, we're going to make our way to our seats. So however you want to get there. We're going to extend both legs in front of you. Toes point towards the ceiling. Can you see my toes? Yeah, there we go. We're just going to find our Dandasana, which is like a pretty active seated pose. So the hands come underneath the shoulders, arms press into the ground, palms press into the ground, toes are active towards the ceiling. And then we're finding length in the spine by pulling the crown of the head towards the ceiling. Bring the belly button in towards spine. And we're going to hold here for 3 breaths. You can go ahead and close your eyes. Two more breaths. 1 more breath. On your next inhale, open your eyes, sweep your arms up, and then exhale, fold forward over your legs, maybe grabbing a hold of your shins, your ankles, or maybe your big toes with your peace fingers. And we're gonna hold here in our forward fold, but we wanna have like a neutral spine. So I know a tendency is to sort of let the spine round, and we'll get there. But we're going to hold this with our neutral spine first. So as you inhale, pull the chest forward, and exhale, maybe hinge a little bit more at the hips. 2 more breaths. 1 more breath. Release whatever you are holding on to. Bring your hands down to the ground, relax the toes, and then we can round the spine, letting the head be heavy towards the shins. If this is really intense on your lower back, you can always bend your knees. It will help alleviate some of the stress by taking the hamstrings out of the equation. I'm gonna hold here for 5 deep breaths. Letting the chest be heavier with each exhale. Couple more breaths. Very slowly begin to walk your hands back to a tall spine. And then we're going to bend, I'm going to shift to my position. We're going to bend the right knee. Bring the right foot towards the left thigh, finding a half butterfly shape. And then we're going to rotate the torso so that it's in line or more in line with the left leg. We're going to begin to walk the hands down the left leg or framing the left leg. So we're finding a fold over the leg. And you may notice that it's a little bit of an extra stretch between your hip and your rib on your right side. If you can reach, you can go ahead and grab a hold of your foot or your toe. Going deeper into it. 2 more breaths. One more breath. Begin to walk your hands back towards your body. And then we're going to rotate the torso again so that it's sort of in between your right knee and your left knee in that big open space. Take a deep inhale. Then exhale, fold forward over that space. Your arms can come down to the ground. Your spine can round. Head can be heavy towards the ground. Just noticing the difference that a slightly different position in the torso makes throughout the whole stretch. All right, we're going to walk the hands back towards the body. Bring both feet to meet, extended in front of you again. And then switch to the other side. So we're going to bend the left knee, left foot comes in towards the right thigh. Rotate the torso so that it's more in line with the right leg. And then walk the hands down the sides of the right leg until you find your limit here, your stretch. Being mindful of the breath again. Making sure you're still breathing. Sometimes we forget. Walk the hands back towards the body. Torso shifts to be more in line with the space between your knees. Take a deep inhale, sweep arms up. And then exhale, fold forward over that space. Forearms can come down to the ground. Deep, nourishing breaths. Walk the hands back towards the body. And then we're going to bring the right foot to meet the left, finding our butterfly or Baddha Konasana shape. So in this shape, we're letting the knees be heavy, but the intensity is totally up to you. So the closer your heels are to your body, the more intense of a hip stretch it's going to be. The further away, the bigger your diamond, the less intense it's going to be. So just play with it. Find something that works for you. And we'll just take a moment here to flutter the wings gently. And then find stillness again. Root through your sits bones, through your seat. And then we're going to hinge at the hips again with our straight neutral spine. Hinging as far as you can go. And then once you can't hinge anymore, allow the spine to round. Allow your chest to be heavy towards the ground. So you may find that you can only come down a certain amount. You can continue to use your hands as support. If you are super flexible, you may be able to weave your hands underneath your legs, which will help create a little bit more of a pull and stretch on your lower back. Deep, nourishing breath still. Sending the breath to the lower back. Letting the lower back relax with each exhale. We're going to unwind or find our way back up to a neutral spine. And then we're going to move to our backs. So you can situate yourself however you need to still be able to see me. But the back of the head comes down to the ground or to the mat. The spine is nice and heavy. And then one leg at a time, we're going to extend the legs, come to legs up the imaginary wall. Lower back presses into the mat. Arms can come down to your sides, biceps into ribcage, palms on the ground. Or we're just going to take a moment here to reset or to sort of relax the natural curve of the spine. So press the lower back into the ground, then the middle back, then the upper back, the shoulders, and then the back of the head. Notice any sensations traveling down your feet, ankles, toes. Couple more breaths here. One more deep inhale. Exhale, let it go. And then bring your knees in towards your chest. You can grab a hold of the tops of your knees, or you can grab the backs of your thighs and your knee pits. You can make little circles here, just massaging the lower back. Switch directions with your circles. Come back through center. Give yourself a really big squeeze here, bringing your forehead in towards your knees, rounding your spine. And then release the soles of your feet down to the ground. We're going to have the feet be hip distance apart. And when you extend your arms, you want to be able to, your fingers should be about an inch or two away from your heels. Take a look down. Cool. Palms press into the ground. We're going to do bridge pose. So palms press into the ground, feet really firmly press into the ground. Shoulders press into the ground. And on the inhale, lift your hips. Squeeze an imaginary ball or block between your legs. You can tuck your shoulders under a little bit if that feels okay, and you may even be able to clasp your hands underneath. Just going to hold here for 2 more breaths. Inhale, exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Release your hands. Bring your lower back, your hips back down to the ground. We're going to separate the feet, walk them out to be mat width distance apart or wider. And then we're going to windshield wiper the knees. So you can drape one knee inwards and let the other sort of flay out. I don't know the word, flail out. And then rotate, sort of moving them at your own pace. Pausing anywhere that feels good or feels like it needs a little bit more attention. Couple more times here. All right, let's come back through center. Bring the knees into the chest one last time. Give yourself another big squeeze. And then you are welcome here to find your shape for Shavasana. So Shavasana is just our resting, it's our corpse pose. Traditionally, it's done with legs extended, palms facing up towards the ceiling. But this doesn't feel good for everyone. So if you find that it's too much on your lower back, you can bend your knees, knock them in towards each other. You can place a pillow or something underneath your knees, or you can even have butterfly legs if that feels better. But find a shape that fits your body this morning. And we're going to be here for a couple of minutes. I'm going to turn up the music a little bit. I have some music on in the background. But whenever you find your shape, scan your body, searching for any tension that's tucked away, that's hidden, searching for anything that you can let go of, anything that does not serve you today. Relaxing your feet, your ankles, your calves, your knees, your thighs. Letting go of tension in your hips, in your belly, and your chest. Relax any tension in your fingers, your palms, your wrists, and your forearms, your biceps, your shoulders. Relax your neck, your jaw, your lips. Relax your nose, the space between your eyebrows, the space behind your eyelids, and your forehead. Let all of your bones be heavy. Let the mat or the ground or the earth support you. If you're still with me, begin to make small movements, maybe wiggling your fingers or your toes. Maybe moving your head from side to side. Reconnecting with your breath, coming back into the present. And then whenever you're ready, you can move to either side, bending the knees in towards the chest to find a fetal position. Slowly and gently prop yourself back up to a comfortable seat, keeping your eyes closed if you can. And then bring one hand to your heart. Stack your other hand on top of it. Find that connection with the heartbeat, with the gentle rise and fall of the chest. Let it anchor you in this moment. Thank you so much for being here with me this morning. I hope you all have a wonderful day. And if you need me, you know where to find me.